Hi guys, it's Meredith again, back from This Budget Life, and I have a new video for you. This one is going to be called 10 more areas to start with, 10 more areas to declutter. The last time I did a video like this, it was really popular, and it's been about a month, 6 weeks or so since that video was published, and about 2 months since we started doing minimalism. So I thought it would be good to kind of revisit some of the new areas that we have started focusing on for minimalism, and also revisit some of the older ones, because you will find as you take on minimalism and start to use this process and this philosophy in your life that after you go through it the first time, you're going to need to go back through a lot of these areas again. Number one, the biggest area I think since the last time I published a video that we've gone through, because we haven't started the attic yet, is our refrigerator. I know, right? It seems like a weird thing to think about as far as minimalism and decluttering, but if your fridge was anything like mine, you have a bunch of like mystery foods in there, you know, like leftovers that you knew you probably weren't going to eat but you felt too guilty to throw out. So there was mystery food, there were exotic dressings and sauces and wines that were used for one recipe and never used again, and yet there was the guilt of throwing things out. Things weren't in any particular place, it was just kind of whatever shelf they fit on, and consequently it made it very hard to know exactly what you had on hand for meals, and also it made it hard to know what to shop for, and you wound up buying, or I wound up buying, multiples of things I already had. So part of streamlining our refrigerator was to meal plan. So after I did the pantry declutter, I knew exactly what I had on hand in the pantry. I decided to do the same thing with the refrigerator. I went through my refrigerator, I combined things that had multiples of the same thing, maybe like three half full mustards, you know, go through and combine some of those to reduce the amount of items in the refrigerator, stuff that I knew hadn't been used in the last 3 to 6 months. Things that were past their expiration date that just were so rarely used we didn't even realize they were past their expiration date. So using what I knew I had in my refrigerator and my pantry, I've been meal planning all of this month and trying to use as much out of those as possible, which has been dropping our food bill, which is great, right? Any budget area we can save money in, hey, I am all for that. When you start including your fridge, you want to start meal planning for other meals, because let's face it, we all eat other meals, and right now all the kids are getting out of school, they're home, and if they're like mine, they're little food vacuums. I have to plan for snacks and meals and pad a little bit in there extra because they're going to eat more than I'm going to eat, and they're still skinnier. How fair is that? Anyway, look in your fridge, you're going to be thinking about breakfasts, and cereal can add up really fast and be really expensive if that's the only breakfast item you keep on hand. So think about things like bacon, eggs, egg whites. You can stretch your eggs farther, put some egg whites in there. I get my egg whites at Costco in bulk, and I get my eggs at Aldi's. Right now they're 89 cents. I know in some areas of the country they're 59 cents, sometimes even cheaper depending on what your Aldi has, so be sure and check that out. So eggs, bacon, sausage, if you don't eat meat, you know, there's other breakfast alternatives you could have, you know, vegetarian or vegan sausage or meat options in there. But make sure you're considering your breakfast alternatives to cereal. I always keep old-fashioned oats, quick oats, and instant oatmeal on hand. When it comes to snacks, you've seen my hauls. We do eat some junk food here and there. I keep some of that on hand, but the kids know that once it's gone, there's nothing till next week. So snack foods, I also try to keep plenty of healthy snack foods like chopped vegetables. I have a vegetable pizza that's in the refrigerator right now that's delicious. Fresh fruit, as long as that will last. We go through a lot of bananas. Apples are kind of pricey right now, but I think as the summer goes on, those will probably drop, and I'll keep those on hand. So vegetables, fruit, lunch meats, cheese, they can make a quick sandwich if they want to, lettuce, salad fixings, all of that. So there's no excuse when they go in there and they say there's nothing to eat. You have to evaluate. Is there nothing to eat? Is my fridge full of condiments and a lone tomato and bread, and or you know, do you have the fixings in there for several things? You know, good solid sandwiches for hungry teenage boys, and you know, yogurts and fresh fruit, and you know, do you keep bread on hand? I buy more bread than we need and I put it in the fridge, so if we decide to do something, or in the freezer, so that if we decide to do something like French toast or the whole family has grilled cheese sandwiches, we are instantaneously out of bread. Bread thaws in just a few minutes out of the freezer, so it's worked out really well. So you're going to meal plan, and you need to start meal planning for everything. You should have had about a month now of meal planning your dinners to help cut down on your food bill and keep your family well nourished and taken care of. And now you want to start adding in the breakfasts and lunch now that you're looking at your refrigerator. So keep it simple, all right? Like I said, a lot of the stuff that I wound up getting rid of was like fancy schmancy dressings and sauces and things that we would never use. I decided we're going to keep it simple for our meal plan to the stuff we really use, so we can actually see it and use it and not waste it. So refrigerator, meal plan, keep your meals simple, and keep it stocked. Like, do an inventory. You know, go through there. Because especially if you've got teenagers or a husband that comes home from work, you need to have stuff in there. And it doesn't need to be sugary crap. It doesn't need to be processed. It can be healthy stuff in there, but make sure that you're taking those things into account. If you haven't done it yet, take a look at your pantry. Now my pantry is huge. It's a whole little room off of my kitchen. A lot of you are going to have pantries that slide in and out, or just a cupboard in your kitchen, but still, take a look at it and use the same process that you did for your refrigerator. Meal plan, keep it simple, and keep it stocked. Have your basic pastas and rice. If you need to bake, make sure you've got your flours and your sugar and chocolate chips or whatever it is that you're going to use. Make sure those basics are in there, because as long as you keep that well stocked, you'll be able to minimize those last minute or midweek trips to the store, and you'll have the things on hand that you need to cook meals. And if you're not feeling good, you'll have the things on hand that your husband, or if you have an older child that's able to cook, can make a quick and easy meal. Number 3, you'll notice a lot of these are food related. Your spice cupboard. This is something that I did because I was tired of things falling out of my spice cupboard, every time I went to cook. I love to cook, and I like to try new recipes and things. And spices, for the most part, unless you're getting really fancy, aren't too expensive, at least around here. But I had too many of them, and every time I'd open it up to get something out, it would fall out. So what I did is I got the spice rack organizers that you see in the As Seen on TV section of your store, where they have all that stuff. They have these white little racks. I got those, and I cleaned out my spice cupboard, and I put that up there, and everything that I use rarely, I put on the back. Maybe I use it once a month or whatever, but it's not like a daily thing. I just lined it all up there. Maybe it's holiday seasonings that you only use once in a while. Put those on the back. And so I had this big empty space in the middle of my spice cupboard. And I went to Bed Bath & Beyond, and they had these little mini turntables or mini Lazy Susans. I got the 9-inch one. I think it was like $4.99. And it has a rubberized grip on it. I should have brought it here to show you, but it had a rubberized grip. And you set it in the middle of your cabinet, and then I just put the items that we used every day on it. So I did this to 2 cabinets, so I have 2 turntables. And one turntable has salt, our Himalayan sea salt, regular table salt, ground pepper, garlic pepper, cayenne pepper, and I think onion powder, just ones we use a lot of, and Italian seasoning. And that's on one. The other one has our olive oil, our coconut oil non-stick spray, and has like mustard and a couple of other things on there that we use. Those ones we use constantly, and they stay on the turntables. Now, these will still require maintenance. I'll still have to go there and straighten, but nothing's falling out on anybody anymore when we open the cupboard doors. As far as seasoning packets, I keep mine in a little Ziploc bag right now, but I have done in the past where if you're going to the store and you see one of those little boxes are empty, they don't care if you want that hold the seasoning packets. I've grabbed those before, and the double ones are really nice, and just taking it up to the register with me. They're fine. It's one less thing for them to throw out. You get to reuse it, and just store your packets at home in there so you can always have an idea of what, gravies or seasonings that you have on hand. So spice cupboard is one area to declutter. It's going to make that whole simple meal plan flow much more easily if you have everything organized nicely. I also did throw out some things. I threw out some things that I had bought thinking, ooh, that sounds fancy, I might use that, and it's been sitting in the cupboard for over a year. I just tossed it. It's less stress for my family. It was expired anyway. It probably didn't have much flavor if I would have tried to use it. So like, I kept the sage, but I got rid of the Dalmatian sage. 4. This is one of the areas we're going to revisit. We're going to revisit our closet and drawers. This is something that I have started doing again. It's been about 2 months since I first went through my clothing. And I'm realizing that yet again, there are items both in my tops and bottoms and dresses that in the last 2 months, although I've had the opportunity to wear them, I have not picked them out. They may still fit in with the color scheme that I thought I was going to stick with, which I have stuck with this summer, but maybe it's one of those things that you have to wear like a shaping undergarment with, and it's just too hot and you're not going to wear it. So maybe it's something that you can look at and reevaluate and put back for fall. Maybe it's jeans that you're like, 5 more pounds, like you couldn't quite justify getting rid of it or storing it away for fall, and you're just 5 pounds away. But I'll tell you what, those last 5 pounds are the hardest to lose, and I have a couple pairs of jeans I just have not worn yet. But like I said, you don't have to like get rid of stuff in this instance, but I am going to take it and I'm going to hang it with my fall stuff. And if by fall I have not managed to lose those last 5 pounds, then they're going to leave the house. I'm not going to have them hanging there making me feel guilty for not wearing them when someone else could be using them and loving them and getting lots of joy out of them and being skinnier in them. Anyway, so I'm going to reevaluate my capsule wardrobe. So reevaluate, if you set one up already, reevaluate your capsule. Be honest about the things you really do pick out from a day-to-day basis and the stuff that you don't pick out even when you really need to do laundry and there's only 3 things left in there and you still won't wear those. You'll sit in your pajamas until the clothes come through the wash. Those are the items that need to be moved out of your capsule wardrobe. Be honest about what you need when you're reevaluating this. Do you need 32 pairs of Victoria's Secret panties? Do you have too much of a certain item or too much altogether? Or do you have too little? Maybe when you did your capsule wardrobe you were really, really strict and you got rid of too much and now you're like, I need to buy some stuff. Alright, so evaluate honestly the areas that you need. If you have 2 t-shirts and you keep washing them over and over because those are your favorites, maybe get a couple more in those t-shirts in a couple different colors. You know, expand a little bit, it's okay. Don't be too rigid with yourself. Be honest about what your clothing needs are. And if you know you tend to be weak in this area, let's, you know, grow a little backbone and not give in. We don't have to buy something because it's on sale and because it's pretty and it's the color that we look good in. Lord knows, if we bought everything in a very color that flattered our skin tone, we would have a closet that is bursting. Maybe you have a closet that's bursting. Maybe it's time to set up an eBay account and make some money for your budget, right? Or to buy stuff that you really do love and that fits you well. Something to consider. So revisit your closet and your drawers. Number 5 is the car. This is one that I have got to take on now that the kids are out of school and we're going to be going everywhere together. My car can be disgusting. We have a Suburban and we have 5 kids and our car gets pretty gross. So look at your car. Your car carries you around. Are you embarrassed if you have to give somebody a ride somewhere? Are you like, oh, I hope when we get to church we open that drawer, that empty yogurt container doesn't slide out in front of the deacon who's parking everyone? So trash. Be honest about your trash. If you need to, buy a teeny tiny little trash can and some little scented trash bags and keep them in your vehicle. Alright, filth. You know, we can keep everything picked up out of the car, but if it's like literally filthy, like there's like encrusted stuff and dust and sticky, gooky, alien goo in your cup holders, ooh, that does not contribute to peace, joy, dignity, or respect for yourself or your vehicle. So clean up the filth. Get a little, again, dollar store basket or something that you keep in the back of your car that has a cleaning wipes, and if you have leather wipes, and maybe some Windex or just something that you can clean up instantaneous messes with and just maintain. Maybe that's something you can give as a summer chore to one of your kids to earn some money. Once a week they go through it and they clean up whatever's out of the car, they empty the little trash can, they wipe down the windows, etc. Like I said, this is not something that I've already done. We're in the process of working on it, but it's something that needs to be addressed. And again, it's just this thing of cleanliness, order, and minimalism spreading from one area of your life to others, things that you were blind to before you'll see, and this is one of them. Alright, if your car has become a catch-all for things that you mean to return, You know who I'm talking to. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That sports bra from Walmart, those library books, the Redbox DVD, the item at the mall are all sitting there with or without receipts, in or out of their bags, waiting to be returned. Get yourself a basket. And normally for returns you're going to need, you know, a bigger, this doesn't make any sense on camera, a bigger basket. Okay, so a little Dollar Tree basket's not going to do it. You have to have a bigger basket. Keep it by the door that you use the most. Anytime you have something that needs to be returned, put it in that basket, tape the receipt to it. If you're scared to do that, at least keep the receipts neatly in your purse or wallet if you're a dude. And then when you get ready to go to town, pick up the basket and go, so that these things don't get dirty or damaged where you can't return them, and you see them and you process it and you take care of it, and it's not sitting there stressing you out and adding to the mess and confusion in your car. Alright, so those are things. Vacuum it at least once in a while. We have a central vacuum cleaner, so we can just hook ours up and do it that way. But if it's too much of a pain to drag your vacuum out to the driveway or the street or wherever, just go to the gas station or the car wash that has one of those plug-in vacuum cleaners and just suck it all out of there and keep it neat. That's number 5. Number 6. Alright, this is a little more existential from the actual physical cleaning up that we've been talking about before, but your social media. You know, I spend a lot of time on social media with vlogging, with staying connected with friends. I love social media. I'm not bashing social media. But it can be overwhelming and it can become an obsession. So when I'm talking about social media, clean it up. You can unfollow people. You don't have to unfriend them. If this is somebody you want to stay in contact with, you don't want to hurt their feelings, etc., whatever. But maybe they post a lot of negative stuff. Maybe they post a lot of stuff with foul language or nudity or just things that you don't approve of, but maybe your business contacts. You don't have to unfriend them, but you can unfollow them so that you keep that negativity out of your Facebook feed. Same with your email. If you've got, 4,000 unread emails, you probably need to go through. Most of them, if it's like my inbox, are almost all marketing emails. If you make a single purchase anywhere online, they're going to send you emails forever. So go through and unsubscribe to those, mark them as trash, delete them, clean it up so that your inbox is a source of information and not a source of spam. Delete apps. Delete apps that are taking up space, time, or money. If you have an app that you're weak on and you're constantly buying stuff for that app, delete the app. Unless you've budgeted that into your budget, that you have like the fun money section and you take that out, that's totally fine. I'm not here to make you feel guilty about that. But if you've got apps that you're spending money on and you're like, ooh, I didn't have that budgeted, now I gotta take it out of grocery money. Delete the app. If you've got apps that are constantly showing things that make you discontent in your life, Pinterest can be bad for this. If you can't afford to redecorate your entire living room or kitchen or remodel stuff, then don't be on Pinterest. Pinterest is good for recipes, but it has a lot of negative downsides when it comes to wasting time and making you discontent. One of the vloggers that I follow on YouTube once said that a success to any budget and becoming debt-free is to practice the art of contentment. And for some of us, that means we have to limit our exposure to things that we don't have, because it is just a character flaw that we have, that we are easily discontent. And that's something you have to deal with spiritually. It has something you have to deal with character-wise. But in the meantime, while we're growing and learning in these areas, limit your exposure to those things that cause those feelings in you. This flows into the next one. Number 7 is unhealthy relationships or no relationships. Because I've run into both. I've run into people who maintain unhealthy relationships out of a shared past or history, even if it's detrimental to them. I have run into people that maintain unhealthy relationships because they are trying to help someone that doesn't want to be helped. And then there's also people who have no relationships. Like they are so... they're in their own little bubble, and I'm not talking about introverts. They're just naturally more quiet, but still have friends. If you have no outside relationships outside of yourself and maybe one other person, you need to evaluate that. Especially as Christians, we're supposed to fellowship together and build levels of accountability and encouragement with each other. And if you have no solid relationships with people, especially just outside of who lives in your house, I would say you have some serious things to evaluate, to reevaluate. Are you hooked on video games? Are you spending too much time at work, on work? Are you self-centered? And this sounds mean, but sometimes we don't care enough about people to make the effort to get out of the house and participate in their lives or in community events. I'm not talking about people who have anxiety issues and stuff, but I think sometimes the anxiety and things that I see in myself and sometimes in others is a mask for self-centeredness and obsession with other things. And I've seen it often enough, I feel like I can make that statement. I'm not saying it's a blanket statement, but I've seen it happen enough that I feel like it's something that you have to evaluate. It's not only unhealthy relationships with people that have to be examined when you're considering the emotional and spiritual and physical well-being of yourself and your family, it's a lack of relationships. And this is something like with James, he's more of a quiet guy. And he really doesn't have a lot of spare time, and he wants to be with the family. But if he wants to go bowling with some friends or go fishing or whatever, I'm fine with that because I know that's more of a stretching thing for him. But he needs relationships outside of just me and the kids. And I need relationships outside of him and the kids. Even as a stay-at-home mom, most of the time, except for when I'm at the shop, I need that time to get away with other girls, other women, and just hang out and have a good time and remember that I am an individual with pursuits and interests that are separate from whatever happens to be going on at the house. So that is a huge part of not getting discouraged or burnt out, especially I think for stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home dads, that we pursue interests outside of our family. And they don't have to be expensive interests. They could be totally free. It could just be going and hanging out at the park with other moms and your kids for a couple of hours in the afternoon just to get that adult contact. If you're doing fine, but maybe your husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend is not, reevaluate if there's ways that you can make that happen for them, to encourage them to do that, to sacrifice your time so they can have that time to do that. It's a big deal, and it's important going forward. 8. Alright, I don't think we covered this in the first video. So, video games. As we've been cleaning up and cluttering, we have found a lot of our Xbox games that we just haven't played in years. Now, some of them the kids have started playing again, but many of them they're still not interested in. So, if you've gone through your books and your DVDs, go through your video games. A lot of places like GameStop, if they're still in good condition, you can trade them or sell them to get new ones that you will. So, number 9, check your schedule. This is so hard to do, especially going into the summer. Everybody's schedules are so full, and yet summer is supposed to be the time when we have time off. Reevaluate your schedule. Are you organized so things are running smoothly in your home? I mean, if you can't schedule and organize your home properly, what does it matter if you can do it someplace else? You have to do it for those that mean the most to you. So schedule, organize your time so you can make meals, so the house stays neat, so that you guys have time together. And this goes for whether you're a house mom or a house dad. You know, I think there's a lot more house dads out there than there used to be. But just because you're a house dad doesn't mean you get to be disorganized. Be organized with your time. Maximize your time so that you get rest and enjoyment with your family too, not just constant work and chores. Sometimes we keep our schedules full out of guilt and obligation. Well, it's summertime. I have to keep the kids occupied. I stayed occupied in the summer with almost no activities at all growing up. It was called playing outside. We played with dirt and we rode our bikes and we had forts in the woods and we played with other kids and we used our imaginations and climbed trees and explored things, and we had VBS maybe in the summer. That was usually about the only summer activity that we had was VBS. So, and I'm not saying that if you have more than VBS that it's like, oh my goodness, too much. But reevaluate. If you're stressed out because you're having to run here, there, and yonder for 3 or 4 kids to different activities all summer long, The school year is stressful enough for everybody. Take a break. Breathe. Teach your kids to work during the summer. Let them know what it feels like to earn an income, because Lord knows they're not going to be given it when they get older. So they need to learn to earn one. Keep them busy doing chores, working outside, and make sure they have plenty of time to play outside and grow and explore and spend their summer time pursuing those things that are an interest and a passion for them. Prioritize stuff in your schedule. And this is a hard one because everybody's priorities are different, so it's hard to be real specific. But for me, my priorities for my family are keeping our house orderly, making sure we have family meal times and family recreation times, and that we have time for our church activities. Everything else is going to fall down somewhere below that. And this can be touchy because churches, sometimes they have a lot going on during the summer and sometimes they don't. But I am not one of those people that feels like you have to be at church every time the doors are open. I know, right? The Bible doesn't give us a specific time to go to church. It says to not forsake the assembling of yourselves together. And so sometimes I think that means that it is okay to stay home one Sunday because your family is just exhausted and it needs a break. And for me, with chronic health issues, it happens from time to time. My husband works a lot of hours, and until recently, if he wasn't taking Sunday off, he would have no days off. So it was a big deal sometimes to just not have to get up early to get ready for church. And we do this rarely. I mean, most of the time we are in church every single Sunday. But every great once in a while we will take a Sunday off, and I don't feel any guilt about doing that. We do not often go to church on Wednesdays either. Like I said, I have health issues that can crop up from time to time. We have very busy schedules, and my husband normally doesn't get home till almost 7 o'clock anyway in the evenings, and that few hours before bedtime is all he has during the day with the kids. So I feel as long as we are regularly attending church, we are regularly tithing, that 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 times running back and forth to church for different things is just not going to work for us in this season of life. Now, if you hold a ministry position and you've agreed to, certain obligations and responsibilities, by all means you should fulfill those. If it's starting to get where it's not working, then talk to your ministry leader. I mean, maybe it's just something you thought you could handle, and after a while it's just not. Maybe there's too many demands on your time. Or maybe you feel like you can cut out some of your recreational stuff to make more time for ministry. Either way, schedules need to be reevaluated for priorities. So figure out what those are for your family and give yourself the permission to take a break. And the last item is your words. Your words. I dropped my paper. Your words, if you're like me and talk a lot, can get you into trouble. So reevaluate how much you speak. When you speak, the tone you use, the facial expression you use. All of those things communicate beyond the spoken word. Make sure when you're speaking to people, you're speaking life as much as possible. And I know that there are times when people need correction spoken to them. You need to be honest with your friends and family about things, but do it with love. With children, as much as possible, speak without anger. Speak without manipulation, without a desire to impose guilt. Teach them the right way to respond to things when they make mistakes. Teach them about repentance and saying I'm sorry and offering forgiveness and all of those things. As much as you can, teach them with your words, but show them with your words as well. And have the humility to apologize when you screw up with your words, whether it's with your friends, whether it's with your church family, whether it's with your own family that you live with day to day, and this can be hard. Humility is not easy. It is much easier to be a narcissist and be like, I'm the victim, someone hurt me, they offended me, they disobeyed me, they this, that, and the other, and therefore my reaction was justified. Sin is never justified. The Bible says to be angry and sin not. It's alright to be angry if your child has done something that really is worthy of causing anger. I'm not talking about annoyance, I'm talking about anger. But that doesn't mean you need to lash out at them or freeze them out emotionally or give them the jaw. Teach them how Christ would respond in those situations, while at the same time teaching them going forward about consequences. When you're speaking, limit gossip. Gossip is an ugly, horrible thing. 99% of the time, it's not even true what you're hearing, or it's twisted. Don't be a relay for gossip in your relationships or in your community. Don't be quick to hear gossip or believe gossip. Be very, very careful with this. Careful with your sarcasm. I know some people with a sense, there's people that have a certain sense of humor, they like the dry wit and the sarcasm. Be careful with those around you that may not be able to handle that. Some people don't get it, some people don't understand it. Some people are very tender-hearted and it wounds them. So let's be careful with our words. Let's be minimalistic with our words to the extent that we are heavy on praise, but slow to anger, slow to sarcasm, slow to gossip. Examine your words, your conversations for manipulation, and make sure that you are operating in honesty with somebody and not always looking to get something out of it. So these are 10 more areas for you to start with. Some of these are going to be more psychological, more inward, and a little bit harder than just cleaning out your fridge. But they're all progress. If you'd like to see more of these, let me know. What are some areas that you've started decluttering? I mean, you may have thought of something that I have totally forgotten. I would like to know what that is. I would love to know. I'm always looking for more things to add to my personal list of areas that I can improve. So I hope these have helped. I hope you like this video, and I will see you later. Have a blessed day.